Not to bore you about insurance, but I've got to say a little bit about it. But let me tell you a little bit about my story. Somebody shuffled my papers, so I might have to ad lib. Sorry, Rich. Okay, we'll back up. All right, I've been in La Mirada for 40 plus years. I've been in the insurance business for 45 years. And I'll tell you a little story about how I got into the insurance business. I'll go back. When I first graduated from high school, my dad said, "Son, where do you want to go to school?" And I said, "I don't want to go to school." And he said, "Well, what are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to get a job, get a nice big beautiful car, take out pretty girls." And then he said, "Listen, if you want to make your way in the world, you better go back to school. You learn to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or you learn a trade. You learn a trade so you can always take care of your family." But I let it go because I was more interested in pretty girls. Okay, so fast forward a few years then, I'm working, I'm making more money than my dad, I've got a nice car, just partying, right? At 55, my dad dies. After the funeral and after the fur pickers left, you know what a fur picker is? No? All the sister-in-laws come in and look at the closet. Ooh, I love that. But after that, we looked for a life insurance policy for my dad, my mom. We found a policy. Called the guy out. He came out to the house and he said, "Mrs. Trujillo, to my mom, life insurance, your husband let the policy lapse." She couldn't even live in the house that they had worked so hard to buy. She had to rent it out for a few hundred extra bucks because she was under 60. So she's living with me, my brother, her sisters. It wasn't a very good lifestyle. And I started asking questions of the insurance agent. And he said, "Well, do you guys have insurance?" I said, "We're young. What do we need life insurance for?" He said, "Well, look, this is how it works." So we started it that night, and then I started asking some questions. And he said, "Rich, you should be in the insurance business." And I go, "Well, I'm working, I don't know why." He said, "Because you could look people in the eye and speak from the heart, because you saw what happened to your mom." Okay. Then, now, God works in mysterious ways, right? He'll keep coming at you. So, I'm working in the shop. Now, fast forward a few years again. Now I married one of those pretty girls, and we have a little daughter. And
right?
What's that?
Carol, right?
Carol. And so I'm working in the shop. I have no skills, really. It was terrible. I was sweeping floors, unloading trucks, and the foreman took a liking to me and said, "Rich, come here." So he says, "Look out there. Is this what you want to be doing when you're 50 years old?" I just go like that. And then he said, "If you're going to stay in this business, you're going to have to go back to school. You're going to have to learn how to weld, how to read blueprints, how to do all of those things, right?" So I enrolled at Cerritos College studying industrial technology. Okay? So studied the industrial technology, and I learned how to weld, I learned how to do all those things, and I was doing those things in the shop. But number one, I was not very good at it, and I didn't like it. So, but because my dad said, "Hey, comes back," I learned a trade, right? Another thing he said, "If you're going to go to work, you go to work every day on time, and you make sure the boss makes money." So that was ingrained in me. Now, fast forward a couple more years, a friend of mine called me and said, "Rich, I just got into the insurance business. do you have insurance? I said, well, yeah, I have some life insurance. He says, well, what kind is this? I said, I don't remember. So let me come and look at it. So he comes out talking, he said, hey, that's a good plan, how'd you get it? And I told him the story. And then guess what he said? Rich, you should be in the insurance business. Right? So God talks to you in a few ways, right? So while I was at Cerritos College, one of my electives, English, I took a class called Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes, so did I back in 1981.
So, and it's really not to sell things, it's just how to meet people, how to talk to people, how to treat people. Well, I said, what do I have to do? He said, you gotta meet my district sales manager. I met him, I blew through all the tests, and you ever heard the saying, if you find a job you love, you'll never work a day the rest of your life? That's me. So I have not worked for 45 years, going on close to 50, actually. I love what I do. Every day's a holiday, and I truly believe that. So that's how I got into the insurance business. Now, I'm going to try not to bore you, but in front of you, there's a how insurance works. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how insurance works, and you'll know enough to be dangerous. And then I'm going to kind of explain to you what the challenges are in the insurance business these days. But if you look at this, this will work if you're a homeowner, because home insurance comes in sections, right? You'll see part 1, part 2, part 3, and business part 4. Now, your house or your business, if you own the building, you have to have fire, lightning, windstorm, hail, vandalism, all of those things to cover in case something happens. And then there's a lot of other options for businesses. Loss of business income. Your building burns down, you're wiped out. What are you going to do? So if you get the right plan, they'll cover the loss of business income. Backup sewer and drains, building code upgrades. Your building was built in 1960 and there's a fire or there's a claim, they're going to have to put in everything new, upgraded. So make sure you have the right insurance that covers building code upgrades. And at replacement costs, now there's a challenge that's happening now, and I'll go over that in a little bit. But mechanical breakdown, boiler machinery, okay. The only exclusions are war, wear and tear, vermin, all of those things. You have to take care of the roof. You have to take care of the plumbing. You have to. If you don't, those things aren't insured when it breaks. But if it's sudden and accidental, and they can tell, then you'll have a covered loss. Now, earthquake's an exclusion, but you can buy earthquake. Flood's an exclusion, but you can buy flood. Close to a river, a lake, something like that, or you're at the low end of a street. Okay, and then terrorism has to be covered. Now, here's the big thing, part 2. Your business property, or if you're in a home, you've got a list. You should have a list of everything you have in your house. Take pictures, take receipts, keep receipts, because if something happens, they're going to ask you for those things. What did you have? And you could have 3 bikes, as an example, in the garage, and you don't have a picture of it, or you don't even know what it is, or you don't know how much you paid, right? Then the insurance company is just going to, you just have to talk to them. So just keep receipts, take pictures, things like that. Now, businesses, office equipment, computers, fixtures, inventory. Again, loss of business income. Property of others. Sometimes if you have a business that you have customers' property, care, custody, and control, you have to have a writer for that. As an example, a garage. You have customers' cars there, right? So those customers' cars you have to have covered. And a lot of people don't know that. Now, general liabilities, not just slip and fall, property damage, or product completed operations, if you're a professional, you have to have professional liability. Employment practices is a big thing these days. You gotta be careful what you do and how you do it. So you have employment practices or safety meetings, all those kind of things. If you're a corporation, directors and officers liability is important. And at the bottom is cyber liability. Jason will talk about that from time to time. You've got to be careful about your computer and protect yourself. Now, at the bottom part, workers' comp is a state law. A lot of people, especially contractors, they deal with subcontractors and they say, well, they're not my employees. But if they're working for you and they come to you and you tell them you show up at 8 and you go home at 5 and you do this, they're your employees, right? So make sure you have workers' compensation, and there's a thing that we can help you with. And then group medical, personal, Medicare, long-term, dental, group life, all of those things. A big thing is if you're a business owner, you're the key person in that business. If something happens to you, it's done. So key person insurance will protect your family, and it's just like your own personal family. You should have enough life insurance to make sure the kids can stay in the house, go to school, do all those things. And if you get the right plan, and you can actually turn it into a supplemental retirement plan, which would be tax-free. Now, that's enough about insurance. Hope I didn't bore you. Now, we have built a business. We're not the biggest agency in the area. We're not the smallest either. But we have developed a comfort, and we have a customer base. And our retention is somewhere around 90%. And that's pretty good in the insurance business, right? And so the reason on the back side of that, part 1, 2, and 3, is we've developed, I have 3 daughters that work in the agency with me, and people ask all the time, how do sisters work together? You guys have any clues, right? So the best thing we did was we put them in departments. One's the personal lines, auto, home, life insurance. The other one does commercial insurance, business, everything to do with business insurance. And then my 3rd daughter does medical insurance, Medicare, all those other things, group health. And then we have a marketing manager, which is my granddaughter. Now, we have blow-ups, but around 11:30, they say, okay, where are we going to lunch? And it's all good, right? So, now, the challenges with insurance these days, everybody's rates are going up, right? Auto, home, business. We've had business insurance. We have a lot. I'll give you one example. We have several wholesale distributors, produce, vegetables, things like that, based out of Los Angeles. And they were with farmers, because we deal with several different companies. They were with us for 20, 25 years. And all of a sudden, farmers doesn't want to be in that business anymore. Their premiums are $80,000, $90,000, $150,000, depending on how big and how many trucks. So, when they cancel them, we're fortunate enough, because my daughters, and we give personal service, we had to go outside. We went to a company, like, what's the name of your company again?
Aegis.
Aegis, right? So Aegis is a brokerage. We have several brokers that we work with. So they went from $100,000 a year, premiums going to $200,000 a year, $180,000 a year. And I'm thinking, oh my God, they're not going to be able to do it, but they have no choice. Now, your home, your autos, the rates are going up, and the reason things are going up there's challenges that the insurance industry is facing. But think about it. 4 or 5 years ago, to rebuild a house was $200 a square foot. That pretty correct, Ray? Today, it's $400 a square foot. And it takes 18 months to rebuild. So, your homeowner's insurance, make sure that you have that replacement cost because of the increased cost of goods and services. You just heard your dad, he talked about he's going out to his in-laws because their electrical panel is something, right? If your electrical panel has, what is it, Zelco or Zenz or what are those?
Zelto? Zinco.
Zinco. Who said that?
Zinco.
Zinco, right? You're gonna have to replace that because insurance companies don't want to insure any building that has that Zinco panel because they're high risk. So those are the things that are happening. And then more, yes.
That's a question, but why are the rates going faster than inflation? They're gonna go up anyway with inflation, but they're going much faster than inflation.
Well, because the cost of labor, the cost of services, the cost of everything is climbing faster than inflation. That's the reason. Because now with the supply, sometimes if you need, like when we redid our office, we had to wait like 3 months just to get replacement windows. Right? So you can imagine if something happens in your house, something happens in your business, whatever it is, that's why the prices are going up. Everything is going up. McDonald's, you go to McDonald's right now. Oh my God, you're spending $20 where you used to spend $8, right? So those are the things. And the banking industry, they'll tell you the same thing. Prices is, you know, you gotta borrow money, right? There's a cost to it. Everything, who else is in a service?
Attorneys.
Yeah, attorneys, well, that's one of the problems. But, and actually, insurance people and attorneys weren't in bed together.
Hey, that was a weird visual.
It's a good point, Raymond just reminded. Frequency and severity. More and more, I mean, all of a sudden, we have restaurants insured and there's a fire that starts at 2 in the morning, right?
Yeah, there's some,
Or way to snow, Paradise Fire Valley.
Up the mountains. You've heard of the fire zones.
oh yeah.
Down here is 1. Up at Big Bear is a 10. The higher you go, the more expensive it gets. You try to insure a cabin up in Big Bear, it's gonna cost you $8,000 a year, depending on the size, right? So a kid inherits a cabin, and they go, all right, and then, oh my God. So, what we have, my agency, our agency, we have a family agency, is we've kept our clients and we get referrals. I don't really have to do mass marketing or mails or any of those other things, but we get a lot of referrals because we give personal service, we care. These are the things that we do. So we have, if you have a claim, we actually send you information to call us first. I don't care if it's on a weekend. You can call my daughter, Carol or Sherry or Des, and they will guide you. And then you have other things. Now, if you call another carrier, you're going to be talking to somebody in India. Okay? So that's can be a problem. So personal service is important. Now, high tech is important too, like Kim was talking about. But never forget high touch. High tech's important and high touch. So that's what we do. If you want to touch me, call me.
They call your attorney.
Is Sierra your daughter by, is Sierra Sherry's daughter?
Sierra Sherry's daughter, yeah. So my grandkids are starting to filter in. So. Does anybody have any questions? Tammy?
What about the mayor's prayer breakfast?
Thank you. The Mayor's Prayer Breakfast. We're having that, it's April the 19th. You can go online, La Mirada Mayor's Prayer Breakfast, and it's at the golf course this year. And so we're setting that up right now, so
What time?
it's, and check-in is 6:30 or 7, something like that, because it's a prayer breakfast, and y'all gotta get back to work. You gotta get in and out, right? Now, being in the chamber, why are you in the chamber? Why? And I'll tell you right now, if you join the chamber and you think people are just gonna line up outside your door because you're a chamber member, no, it's not gonna happen. You've got to be involved, and you come out and you get to meet people. When we have ribbon cuttings, when we have open houses, when we have lunch chats, try to break away, because that's where you're gonna meet people, and they're gonna be able to, you'll be able to increase your business. Now, I don't care if you're working for the city wants to be involved in small businesses. If you work for the college, like the Lewises, they're out and about, they're everywhere. Tony's out and about everywhere, so that you never know, you might get 20 more people to come because we know Tony, right? And those kind of things are important. And Penny got involved in the chamber a couple, 2 or 3 months ago, and just notified me the other day she's being considered for the Community Services Foundation in La Mirada. Now, she happens to live in La Mirada, but it's going to be good because her business is partnered in La Mirada also. Kim, same way. I've known Kim for 20 years, I think, something like that, right? Kim's been involved. So, stay involved, get involved, and go the extra step, okay? Any questions?
Richard,
That's it. One
the
more.
mayor's prayer breakfast, we're doing the table thing. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Yes, we're going to reserve a table for, I think it's 10 people, 8 to 10 people. Anybody here want to join us? Ken, April the 19th.
Just send us an email and contact us if you want to.
Now, for our monthly meeting, try to bring somebody, right? You may have a client, you may have a customer, you may have somebody that needs to be out and about. So if we well, we're almost full here, but we'll find something. Okay, thank you. Thanks for your time.